Let's take a moment to ground ourselves. You're probably watching this after a long day. Maybe you're in Sydney, juggling a commute on the M4, or in Perth, winding down after a shift in the mines. Wherever you are, money's on your mind. And it's no wonder. Life in Australia isn't cheap. The median house price in Sydney's hit $1.2 million. That's right, $1.2 million for a 3-bedroom in the suburbs. In Melbourne, it's not much better, with prices hovering around $900,000, and don't get me started on rent. A 1-bedroom flat in Brisbane's CBD? Try $1,200 a month minimum. Then there's inflation, sitting at 3 to 4% a year, eating away at your Woolies grocery bill. Eggs, petrol, a flat white at your local cafe, everything's creeping up. Now let's talk about the Reserve Bank of Australia. The RBA's cash rate is at 4.35% as of early 2025. That means if you've got a mortgage, you're feeling the pinch. A typical home loan of $600,000, you're paying over $3,000 a month in repayments. And if you're young, maybe in your 20s, you're staring down the barrel of HECS debt, $30,000 on average, or credit card bills from that post-COVID splurge. It's relentless. No wonder 40% of Aussies don't have a proper emergency fund. That's 4 out of 10 of us living one car breakdown away from financial stress. Let me introduce you to Jack, a Sparky from Perth. Jack's 32, married, with a toddler who's just started daycare. $600 a week, by the way. Jack's good at his trade, pulls in $80,000 a year, but he's drowning in debt. Credit cards from a eye. Bucks's weekend that got out of hand, a car loan, and a mortgage that feels like a noose. Every paycheck's gone before it hits his CommBank account. Sound familiar? Maybe you're not Jack, but you know him. He's your mate, your cousin, or maybe he's you. And here's the thing. It's not your fault. The system's stacked against you. Wages haven't kept up with house prices since the 90s. The ASX 200's been a roller coaster, averaging 7% returns a year, but who's got the cash to invest when you're scraping by? But here's where the tide turns. Jack was in a hole, but he climbed out, and you can too. It wasn't magic. It wasn't a lotto win or a crypto moonshot. It was strategy, discipline, and a bit of that Aussie grit we're famous for. Think of building wealth like waiting for rain in the outback. It takes time, patience, and the right moves. Jack started small, cutting 1 coffee a day, redirecting that $10 to a micro-investing app like Rise. In a year, he'd saved $1,000. That was his first win, his first step toward freedom. Let's zoom out for a second. The average Aussie has about $150,000 in super by age 40. That's not bad, but it's not enough for a comfy retirement. You'd need closer to $1.5 million to live well. Think holidays and the Whit Sundays, not just scraping by. And here's a stat that'll jolt you. Only 30% of Australians have a proper financial plan. That means 7 out of 10 of us are winging it, hoping things will work out. Spoiler, hope's not a strategy. It's like trying to win the AFL Grand Final without a game plan. So why is it so hard? It's not just the cost of living, it's the headspace. We're bombarded with ads. Buy this, lease that, upgrade your phone. Plus, there's the tall poppy syndrome. Don't get too rich or you're a wanker. And let's be honest, who's got time to read up on ETFs when you're rushing to a Barbie or cheering at the MCG? But here's the good news. You don't need a finance degree. You don't need to be a Bondi yuppie or a Turak tycoon. Wealth isn't about flash cars or Rolexes. It's about choices, small, smart choices that stack up like bricks in a house. Let me paint a picture. Imagine Sarah, a school teacher from Brisbane. She's 40, single, earns $65,000 a year. She thought investing was for suits in Sydney's CBD, but she started putting $200 a month into an ASX ETF, Vanguard's VAS to be exact. 10 years later, she's got $50,000. That's a deposit on a unit, a buffer for emergencies, or a boost to her super. Sarah's no genius. She just started. And that's the secret. Starting. It's like catching a wave at Bell's Beach. Time it right, and you're cruising. Now I want you to pause for a sec. Grab your phone or a scrap of paper. Write down 1, One expense you could cut this week. A takeaway coffee? A streaming sub you barely use? Don't overthink it. Just pick one. That's your first move, your first brick. Comment below. What's that expense? Sharing it makes it real, and you'll inspire someone else watching in Adelaide or Hobart. We're about to dive into the how, the practical steps to turn your financial life around. But before we do, let's be real. The biggest barrier isn't money, it's belief. That voice saying, "I'm not good with numbers," or "investing's for the rich," that's rubbish. Building wealth is like climbing Uluru, tough but doable, one step at a time. Stick with me, because up next, I'm sharing the exact strategies Jack and Sarah use to break free. And trust me, you won't want to miss the one hack 90% of Aussies overlook. All right, mates, we've faced the rip current of Aussie financial life, sky-high house prices, sneaky inflation, and mortgages that feel like wrestling a croc. Now it's time to swim smart. I'm about to share 4 dead-set practical strategies to build wealth, whether you're a uni student in Adelaide or a retiree in the Gold Coast. These aren't pie-in-the-sky ideas. They're like a trusty ute, reliable, no fuss, and built for the long haul. Let's dive in and stick with me, because there's a game-changing hack at the end that most Aussies miss. Strategy 1. Smash. Your debt with the snowball method debt's like a kangaroo bounding through your wallet. It'll knock you flat if you don't tame it. The average Aussie owes 30 grand on credit cards or HECS, not counting mortgages. That's a lot of stress for a Barbie on the weekend. Enter the debt snowball method. Simple, effective, and satisfying as cracking a cold one after a long day. Here's how it works. List all your debts, smallest to biggest, ignoring interest rates. Pay minimums on everything, but throw every spare dollar at the smallest debt. Once it's gone, roll that payment into the next smallest. It's like knocking pins at 10-pin bowling. Each win builds momentum. Take Chloe, a barista from Melbourne. She had 5 grand on a credit card, 2 grand on a car loan, and 20 grand in HECS. She was overwhelmed, barely covering interest. She listed her debts. Car loan first, then credit card, then HECS. She cut 1 takeaway coffee a week. $10, redirected that to her car loan and paid it off in 18 months. Then she tackled the credit card, clearing it in a year. Now she's chipping away at HECS, stress-free. Total extra cost? $10 a week. That's less than a pint at the pub. Your move. Pause this video, grab your phone and list your debts, smallest to biggest, even if it's just $100 on Afterpay. Comment below, what's your smallest debt? Sharing, it's like telling your mate you're hitting the gym. It keeps you accountable. Strategy 2. Invest in ASX ETFs for long-term growth investing. Sounds like something for suits in Sydney's Martin Place, but it's not. It's like planting a eucalyptus tree. Start small and it grows massive. The ASX 200's averaged 7% annual returns over the last decade, even with its ups and downs. You don't need a fortune to start. Exchange-traded funds, or ETFs, let you own a slice of the ASX, like BHP, Combank, and Woolies, for as little as $50 a month. Meet Tom, a tradie from Brisbane. Tom's 35, earns 90 grand, but thought investing was for rich blokes. He started with Vanguard's VAS ETF, which tracks the ASX 200. He put in $200 a month via Raiz, an app that rounds up your spending. 5 years later, he's got 15 grand, growing at 7%. That's a deposit for an investment property or a buffer for his kids' school fees. How? He skipped 1 Uber Eats order a week and used AutoPay to invest without thinking. Here's your step-by-step 1. Open a micro-investing account. Raiz or ComSec Pocket takes 5 minutes. 2. Pick a low-fee ETF like VAS or VDHG. Fees under 1%. 3. Set up a weekly transfer, even if it's $20. Pause now. Calculate what you spend on takeaways or subscriptions. Could you redirect $10 a week to an ETF? Comment your number. Let's get a chain going. Strategy 3. Supercharge your super. Your super's like a Great Barrier Reef coral. Protect it early, and it thrives. The average Aussie age 40 has 150 grand in super, but you'll need 1.5 million for a comfy retirement. That's holidays in Noosa, not instant noodles. The trick? Boost your contributions now, even a little. If you're 30 and add 1% of your salary, say 50 bucks a month, you could gain an extra 200 grand by 65 thanks to compound interest. Lisa, a nurse from Hobart, figured this out. At 45, she had 80 grand in super. She bumped her contributions by 1%, about 40 bucks a month, and switched to a growth fund with more ASX shares. 10 years later, her super's at 200 grand, on track for $1 million by retirement. She didn't sacrifice much, just one dinner out a month. The ATO's super rules let you add pre-tax or after-tax contributions, and you might score a tax break. Your action: log into your super account. MyGov makes it easy. Check your fund's fees and performance. If it's high fee or underperforming, switch to a low-cost option like Australian Super or Host Plus. Then add 10 bucks a week to your contributions. Pause and do it now. Comment: what's your super balance? No judgment. Let's inspire each other. Strategy 4. Start a side hustle for passive income. Aussies love a fair go, and a side hustle's your ticket to extra cash. Think of it like fishing off St. Kilda Pier. Cast a line and the rewards come. 40% of Aussies have a side gig, from Uber driving to selling crafts on Etsy. It's not about working yourself to death. It's about diversifying income to fund investments or clear debt faster. Meet Aisha, a graphic designer from Sydney. She's 40, freelances on Upwork, and earns an extra 5 grand a year doing logos for small businesses. She funnels that into her VAS ETF, adding 100 bucks a month. In 3 years, she's built a 10 grand portfolio, plus paid off her credit card. Her secret? 2 hours a week, working from her Bondi flat while watching the footy. Here's how. 1. List your skills: design, writing, even dog walking. 2. Check platforms like Airtasker or Fiverr. 3. Start small, 1 gig a month. Redirect the A, cash to debt or investments. Pause. Brainstorm one skill you could monetize. Comment it below. Let's swap ideas. These strategies, debt snowball, ETFs, super, side hustles, are your toolkit. They're like a surfboard, helping you ride the financial waves. But here's the hack 90% of Aussies miss: automation. Set up direct debits for your debt payments, ETF investments, and super contributions. It's like autopiloting a Qantas flight. Less effort, same destination. Jack, Chloe, Tom, Lisa, and Aisha all automated their plans, saving time and avoiding temptation to spend. Before we move on, one last challenge. Pick one strategy: debt, investing, super, or side hustle, and commit to one action this week. Maybe it's downloading Rise or listing a debt. Comment your choice and why. It's like yelling Aussie, Aussie, Aussie at the cricket, gets everyone pumped. Up next, we'll talk long-term wealth, including a secret to make your super A bulletproof. You won't believe how simple it is. We're in the home stretch now, mates, and it's time to look beyond the daily grind. You've got the tools: smashing debt, investing in ETFs, boosting your super, maybe even a side hustle buzzing like a Barbie on Boxing Day. But wealth isn't just about today. It's about tomorrow. 10 years from now, when you're sipping a cold one on a balcony in Noosa, or 20 years from now, when you're cheering your grandkids at the local footy oval. This is about building wealth that lasts, like a boomerang. Thrown just right, it comes back stronger. Let's craft your long-term blueprint with steps so solid they'd make Uluru jealous. First, let's talk retirement. The dream's simple: freedom to live life on your terms. But the numbers? They're a wake-up call. To retire comfortably, think holidays and the Whitsundays, a nice car, and no scrimping, you'll need about 1.5 million in super. By age 65. Sounds like a lot, right? It is. The average Aussie at 50 has just 200 grand in super. That's enough for baked beans and a caravan, but not much else. The good news? Time's on your side if you act now. Compound interest is like a swell at Bells Beach. Catch it early, and it carries you far. Meet Lisa, a nurse from Melbourne. At 50, Lisa had $100,000 in super and a mortgage that felt like a life sentence. She thought retirement was a pipe dream. Maybe she'd work till 70, like her mom. But Lisa got smart. She consolidated her super into a low-fee fund, Australian Super's growth option, with fees under 1%. She added $200 a month, about the cost of a weekly pub feed. She also diversified, putting 10% of her savings into an ASX ETF like VDHG for extra growth. By 55, her super was at 300 grand, and she's on track for 1.2 million by 65. Lisa retired last year, bought a unit in St. Kilda, and now volunteers at the local surf club. Her secret? Consistency and a plan. Here's your first step. Diversify your wealth. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Super's great, but it's not everything. Spread your investments like a good Vegemite toast. Keep 60%. In your super's growth fund, ASX shares, global stocks. Put 20% in an ETF like VAS or BetaShares A200 for ASX exposure. Another 10% in a high-interest savings account. Think ING or Ubank, around 4%. The last 10%? Take a punt on something riskier, like a small side hustle or a managed fund with ESG focus, like clean energy. Why? The ASX 200s returned 7% annually, but global markets and fintech are growing faster. Diversifying's like picking a mixed grill. You get the best of everything. Next, protect your wealth. Economic uncertainty's real, RBAs. Cash rates at 4.35%. Inflation's nibbling at 3 to 4%. That means your savings need to work harder than a tradie on a 40-degree day. Lock in some assets that hedge against inflation. Property's a classic. Median Aussie investment properties yield 4% rent plus capital growth. Can't afford a house? Try a real estate investment trust or REIT, like Goodman Group on the ASX. They own warehouses and offices, paying 5% dividends. Or consider bonds. Australian government bonds yield about 4%, safe as a kangaroo in a paddock. The trick? Balance growth and safety like driving the Great Ocean Road. Enjoy the view, but don't crash. Now let's talk habits, the kind that millionaires swear by. And no, it's not about sipping lattes in Turak. It's discipline, delayed gratification, and thinking long-term. Take Sarah, our Brisbane teacher from earlier. She didn't just invest $200 a month in VAS. She made a rule. No impulse buys over $50 without a 24-hour wait. That saved her $5 grand a year, enough for an extra ETF contribution. She also tracks her net worth monthly, like checking the surf report. Millionaires don't wing it. They plan, review, and adjust. You can too. Set a budget. Use an app, like Pocketbook, linked to your CommBank account. Review it weekly, like prepping for the Melbourne Cup. Small habits stack up, like bricks in a Barbie pit. Estate planning's your final piece. It's not sexy, but it's crucial, like sunscreen, on a 40-degree day. If you've got kids or a partner, a will ensures your wealth goes where you want. The average Aussie estate's worth 800 grand, but without a will, it's a mess. Legal fees can eat 10%. Spend $1 grand on a solicitor to draft one, or use an online service like Willed for a couple hundred. Also, check your super's binding death nomination. Most Aussies forget this, and their super could end up with an X. Takes 10 minutes on MyGov. Do it, and your legacy's safe as the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Here's a challenge. Picture your ideal retirement. Is it a beach house in Margaret River? Driving the kids to AFL training without a mortgage? Write it down. Be specific. Now calculate what you need. A comfy retirement's about 60 grand a year, plus a paid-off home. That's 1.5 million in super, assuming you draw 4% annually. Comment below. What's one thing in your dream retirement? Sharing, it's like planting a seed. It grows. Your wealth's a boomerang. Throw it with purpose, and it returns tenfold. Lisa didn't get rich overnight. She planned, diversified, and stuck to habits. You can start today. Log into your super, check your investments, or draft a budget. It's like tending a coral reef. Small moves now, massive growth later. Up next, we'll wrap this journey with a powerful call to action, plus a 7-day challenge to kickstart your wealth. Trust me, you'll want to hear the one mistake that could derail everything. Here we are, mates, at the end of our journey, 60 minutes that could change your life. We've navigated the rip currents of Aussie finance, crushing debt, sky-high house prices, and the nagging worry that your super won't last. But you're not just surviving now. You're ready to thrive. You've got the tools to smash debt, invest like a pro, supercharge your super, and build a side hustle that pays. You've seen how Jack, Chloe, Tom, Sarah, Lisa, and Aisha turned their financial lives around. Not with millions, but with small, smart moves. And you've got a blueprint for lasting wealth, one that's as solid as the Sydney Harbor Bridge. But this isn't just about money. It's about freedom. Freedom to live life on your terms, whether that's surfing at Bondi, cheering at the MCG, or just knowing you're set for the future. Let's recap the big lessons. First, debt's not your boss. You are. The snowball method can wipe out credit cards or HEX faster than you can say smashed Avo. Second, investing's not for suits. $50 a month in an ASX ETF like VIS can grow into a deposit. Or a retirement booster, like planting a eucalyptus that shades you for decades. Third, your super's your secret weapon. Bump contributions by $10 a week, and you're adding hundreds of thousands by retirement. Enough for a caravan in Margaret River. Fourth, side hustles are your ticket to extra cash. 2 hours a week on Airtasker could fund your investments or clear debt. And finally, long-term wealth is like a boomerang. Throw it with discipline, diversify your portfolio, and protect it with a will. These aren't dreams. They're steps, and you can take them today. Your financial journey's like sailing the Great Barrier of Coral Reef. The waters are tricky. RBA rates at 4.35%, inflation at 3 to 4%, Sydney houses at 1.2 million. But with the right map, you'll glide through. Avoid the one mistake that derails most Aussies: waiting. Waiting for a pay rise, a cheaper market, or a lotto win. That's like waiting for rain in the outback. Good luck. Start now, even if it's $10 a week. Jack didn't wait. Lisa didn't wait. They acted, and now they're free. You can be too. Here's your 7-day challenge. Commit to one action that moves you closer to financial freedom. Day 1. List your debts or open a RISE account. Takes 5 minutes. Day 2. Cut one expense. Maybe that extra flat white. Day 3. Check your super on MyGov and add $10 a month. Day 4. Brainstorm a side hustle idea. Day 5. Set up an auto transfer to an ETF or savings. Day 6. Write down your retirement dream. Be specific, like a beach shack in Byron. Day 7. Tell a mate about your plan. Accountability's like a mate spotting you at the gym. It works. Track your progress and comment below on day 7. What did you do? Your story could spark a movement like a chant at the AFL Grand Final. Let's talk about why this matters. Money's not about flash cars or Rolexes. It's about choices. Time with your kids, a holiday without stress, or helping your community like pitching in for a local surf club. 60% of Aussies stress about money weekly. That's 6 out of 10 of us missing out on Barbie, footy, or just a quiet Arvo. You're not building wealth for a bank balance. You're building it for life, your way. Imagine 10 years from now, debt-free, with a growing portfolio and a super that's humming. You're not just surviving, you're living, like a dolphin riding the waves off Manly. One final story. Meet Emma, a small business owner from Perth. At 45, she ran a cafe, but rising costs, 4% inflation, 800 grand. median commercial rents had her on edge. She watched her parents struggle in retirement, living off a measly pension. Emma decided, not me. She used the debt snowball to clear 10 grand in business loans, invested $200 a month in beta shares, A200, and boosted her super contributions. She automated everything, like setting a Qantas flight on autopilot. Now, at 50, she's got 50 grand in investments, a paid-off loan, and a super on track for 1 million. Emma's not rich. She's free. She's planning a trip to the high Kimberly, not because she's loaded, but because she's in control. Now it's your turn. This isn't the end. It's the start. Your financial future's waiting, like a sunrise over Uluru, full of promise. Don't let it slip. Take one step today. Comment below. What's your first move toward financial freedom? Maybe it's downloading, pocketbook, or listing a debt. Be specific. Your comment could inspire someone in Brisbane or Hobart. Then hit like if this video lit a fire under you. Subscribe for more no BS tips to build your wealth. And share this with a mate, your cousin, your workmate, anyone who deserves a fair go. Together, we're not just building wealth, we're building a movement, like a wave sweeping from Bondi to Broome. Your journey's like navigating the reef. Steer wisely, and the rewards are endless. The world's changing. ASX, volatility, global markets, crypto buzz, but you've got the map. Start small, stay consistent, and don't look back. I believe in you, Australia. Let's make financial freedom as Aussie as Vegemite on toast. Comment now. What's your first step? Let's do this.